All right, let's say, like I mentioned before, the last section that we have to do is going to be time. So how can we keep track of time? Whether it's for your employees, whether it's for personal, okay? You can choose those options. And here's a great thing too. If your employees want to, so instead of billing them for the service itself, you can bill them for their time. So let's say a customer decides to just say, hey, I want this particular photographer. Okay, then you can bill them separately for just the time for that particular photographer instead of billing for the service that they provide. So again, if that's something that you want to do, so we can use tracking, or in this case, tracking the time that maybe a specific person has done. So then you can pass those times along and bill your each customer. So once again, activating time tracking. So we've done that before, right? You just have to go to your edit preferences on the menu bar, and you're going to go to time. And for, of course, we mentioned this before, right? If you toggle yes under time, you're going to get this icon appearing on your home page, okay? And this is going to be very, very, useful, especially for those that, you want to keep track of your employees, right? If you don't have a clock-in tower, you can have them fill out a timesheet just right here in QuickBooks. And then the great thing is if you have access, right? We talked about setting up users. If you're the HR, you are able to collect everybody's timesheets right there. Okay, so with that being said, therefore, right, it makes it a lot more easier to pay your employees. Okay, and of course, right now, well, today we're only focusing on just how to pass the time for the employees and how to have the customer pay for them instead of you. Okay, so once again, if a customer is wanting a particular person to do the job, and so you could bill them for the time, so then instead of having to pay them right through the payroll, you can have them pay the person as a bill. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this example here. So we're going to be entering time in timesheets. So once again, once you validate that, right, this is what the timesheet looks like. So if I go ahead and click this little drop down menu, it gives you the option to either enter in as a weekly timesheet, or you can enter it as a single activity, meaning you can enter in 1 day at a time. Now, in this case, I'm going to do it as a weekly overview, so you can, pretty much this is what the timesheet looks like. So you can list out whatever services that the person has worked for, or for example, right, whoever the employee is, they can say, well, when I worked my job, I did this specific item, or we did this specific event. And you right here, you have the Monday through Sunday little windows here, columns, right? And you're going to be entering your time that way. And what you're going to notice is that it tallies up the time for that day and also tallies up the time for that week as well. So the most important thing that you want to make sure is, because it's a weekly basis, right? Depending on what your payroll period is, whether it's daily, weekly, bi-weekly, semi-monthly, you're going to figure out when is the perfect time to collect those timesheets, or how often do you want your employees to fill out those timesheets. Most general rule is you should fill out your timesheet every day so you can keep records, because if you're anything like me, sometimes I can't remember what happened yesterday. So, so definitely fill out your timesheets as soon as possible, especially for your employees. Or sometimes they fill them out if they know they're going to be doing the same job. They might fill it out the day before payroll. Okay. So once again, the example says that we're going to go ahead and type in Mike. right? Mike is considered one of our employees. Mike Wazowski, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but we got him, okay? And you also need to toggle the date because that's also very important because you want to make sure that these times or these dates match. So in this case, we're looking at this calendar and I believe we are doing it for the month of January of 2019, the week of the 7th. Okay, so January 2019, we're doing it as of Monday the 7th. And as you can see, Monday's the 7th, Tuesday's the 8th, Wednesday's the 9th. Okay, so here we go. Now we have the perfect time week of the week, so time setting, right? And we even set it up so that when you do this, the time sheets or the times is going to start on Monday. Okay, so now we have that squared away. Now we're going to have to enter in whatever we see that Mike has done for the week. Now, if you're looking in your book, this screen is terrible. Okay, you can kind of make out what it says, but sometimes it's also very fuzzy and it's in both the book and the scans as well. So what I did was, because I taught this class many times before, I've screenshotted it for you guys. So here we go. Monday. So on Monday, Mike Wazowski, right? We had a meeting, okay? So right here, each item or the listing columns that you have here are going to be significant to what the job entails. So the very first one, right, because it's not a particular job that we did for a particular client, therefore we went ahead on this day right here. The very first item is that he is an hourly regular, okay, and we had a staff meeting on Monday for 5 hours, okay? So there you go. That's the first thing that we're going to write in here, okay? So again, it's not a particular person that we wrote, right? A staff meeting's a general. There's no particular item. However, the payroll item, which we will talk about tomorrow, okay? Payroll items this one is a compensation. So how we pay Mr. Mike is he works as an hourly rate. And he's an hourly regular worker. Okay, and once again, the notes could be whatever notes that you'd like, but in this case, we're gonna note that this was a staff meeting. And let me see, meeting. And we know that for a fact on Monday, we had a staff meeting for 5 hours. So you just type in 5 and then you can move on to the next one. So then you get this little window here because notice this. We marked that this was billable, right? We didn't mark it, but because we set the default settings that QuickBooks is going to automatically bill everything or have it set as billable for everything, now it says that here, you have a billable item to nobody. And it's just notifying you. You're going to click OK. Because what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to uncheck mark it because you don't have anybody to bill. So a staff meeting is an overall, company thing. So you don't need to bill anybody for that. All right. So you want to make sure that you check mark that it is not billable. Okay. So right here, column 1, Monday, I worked for 5 hours and it says that I worked a total of 5 hours that week. Okay. So that's just only Monday. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what the next item is going to be. So the next one, we have Anderson Wedding Planning, okay? And this was an indoor photo shoot, all right? And let's see, we did hourly regular, and it was a wedding shoot. Now let's see what days that you've actually worked. So you only worked one day on Tuesday for 2 hours. Okay. So let's go ahead and write that in. So the customer that you have worked for was the Anderson Wedding Planning. Okay. And it was an indoor photo session. Indoor photo session. Okay, once again, your payroll item is going to be hourly regular. And this was a wedding, I'm going to say photo shoot, not shoot. Wedding photo shoot, okay? And Tuesday, we only did 2 hours. Okay, and again, once we click this right here, it's going to automatically bill Mr. Anderson Wedding. Okay, and that's what we want. We want to pass the time along. So instead of us paying them for payroll, right, we have the customers pay for them or pay for that service for having Mike as the work for them. Okay, and let's go see what the next one is. Next one is we have Maria Cruz branch opening, an outdoor photo shoot, right? And it says right here, site photo shoot. So that means we had to go on their site. We worked 6 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Wednesday, 6 hours on Thursday. So 636. Okay. So once again, Maria Cruz branch opening. Okay, it was an outdoor photo session. Okay, this was hourly regular, and this was a site. So that means since it was an outdoor photo shoot, we had to go to their location. And once again, we worked 6 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Wednesday, and 6 hours on Thursday. So as you can see this here, Tuesday, I've already booked out my first 8 hours. Okay, I got 3 hours Wednesday and 2 hours, 6 hours on Thursday. Okay, so it's tallying up my columns for the day. So Monday, I still have 5 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours on Tuesday. Okay. And then last but not least, let's see what the last section says. So here we have another Bob Mason. It was another outdoor photo session, okay? And this time on Monday, we did 3 hours. Wednesday, we did 5 hours. Thursday, we did 2 hours. And then lastly, we did 8 hours on Friday. So then again, that's 3, 5, 2, 6. 3, 5, 2, 6. Okay? So once again, I'm going to go to here. And we recognize that it was for Bob Mason. Here he is. This was an outdoor photo session. Okay. Regular. Oh, it already filled it in for me. In this case, this was site photo shoot. So once again, Monday we did 3 hours. We didn't work on Tuesday. Wednesday, right, you can tab this if you like. Wednesday we did 5 hours. Then we did 2 hours. And then we did 8 hours. So let's go ahead and take a look at our totals here. And once again, it's billable to Mr. Bob Mason. So Monday, we did 8 hours. Tuesday, we did 8 hours. Wednesday, we did 8 hours. Thursday, we did 8 hours. And last but not least, we did 8 hours on Friday, giving us a grand total of a 40 week period. So we read 40 hours this week. Okay. And out of the 4, right, we can only bill Maria Cruz, right, Anderson Wedding, and Mr. Bob Mason. And once everything looks good, then we can go ahead and save and close. All right, once you get that beep of approval, right? So that was his timesheet. Now, for any reason you need to modify his timesheet, you're just going to go ahead and click on that exact enter in the weekly timesheet once again, and we're going to populate Mike. Okay, and again, you need to toggle the date so then it is the exact date. So let's say here was Oh, okay, I went a little too far. Okay, so January 7th, right? And here his timesheet pops up again. So let's say he forgot to enter in time for Friday and Saturday. He worked overtime. You can always add as you go, and it keeps the information there for each particular person. So right here, it shows you right here that you can modify his timesheet at any given time. Okay, and once again, if you're going to make it billable, then you make it billable. If not, then you could do whatever it is, right? What if there's an emergency staff meeting on Saturday? Then you can write in here a staff meeting. Okay, so once again, you can always edit the information at any time. Okay, there's no that you don't have to edit it. It's per se. You could just go ahead and manually add and adjust his time. All right, at any given time. You just have to make sure that you look up the particular spots for it. Okay, and once again, if you notice is that we enter time, right? We can go ahead and pass that along to our customers and bill them for that. So once again, I'm gonna go ahead and do Maria Cruz. Okay, so Maria Cruz branch opening, right? And then you're going to get another window, once again, saying, hey, you have something billable. And of course, when we select the time, you can see that Mike has done 3 whole days with Miss Maria Cruz, right? He did Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's what she was being billed for 6 hours on Tuesday, 3 hours on Wednesday, and 6 hours on Thursday. So once again, because this is based on, right? You notice this. It's the same price that we saw in our price point for the service for the photo session, right? So in this case, like what I mentioned before, right? Instead of billing them for the actual service itself, you're billing them for his time that he did for this particular event. And I'm gonna click OK. And what you're gonna notice is that here it says that all of these were outdoor photo sessions. So once again, so here we're passing the time along to this particular person, right? Because in case they didn't say, I don't want service, I want this particular photographer and I want to use them for however long I'd like. Then that's where you're, instead of buying the service itself, because you're not buying 3-hour services, you're buying the person, and whatever the event is over, then you get billed for the time. Okay, and that's exactly what we're doing here, right? And here you go. All of these were Mike Mazowski's people. And there you go. No markup value in this case because, you're paying Mike, I think, $24 an hour, but the service here is $95. Okay, so once again, I'm going to say thank you for your business. Okay, and I'm going to say, I don't know. I'm going to leave that blank. I can figure that later. And once again, you can toggle the date. I'm going to say this was on the 15th of February. Invoice can stay that. No PO number, right? Everything looks good. It's not taxed because they're all service items. So once we do that, now we can validate that this person pays for this particular service, right? So that's 2 ways that you can look at, right? If this customer wants a particular person to do the job, then you can keep track of the time, and whatever Mike chooses that he wants to say that he wants to bill Maria Cruz for the time that he invested instead of doing the packages, then that's what you're going to do here. Is if there's a person that wants a particular person, or a customer wants a particular person to do the job. Okay, and I'm going to save and close, and this is also Walnut Creek. So any questions here? I'm going to go ahead and save and close, and beep of approval, right? So anybody that you've seen on that list, right? Mr. Bob Mason's going to have another invoice as well for all the times that he has done. So let's do that for example. Bob Mason. Let's take a look at Mr. Bob Mason. So there he is, right? Of course, once again, you get that billable. I click OK. And we have to be on the time section, okay? And notice this, he's got 4 items that he's being billed for time, right? Mike decides to say that he did all of these services for Mr. Bob Mason. So once again, you have 3 hours on Monday, 5 hours on Wednesday, 2 hours on Thursday, and 8 hours on Friday. And I'm going to click OK. And of course, he's a San Jose location. Okay, date is relative. Like, you could choose that. That doesn't really matter. Once again, thank you for your business. Okay, and now you're going to bill Bob Mason to pay for his services or for his time. Okay, and save and close. All right. So any questions when a customer wants a particular person to do the job, that's how you can enter the time and you can send off that bill to that customer. Any questions? Okay? No? Okay. So with that being said, right, now that we are able to bill our customers, right, you can make them billable again. So once again, just go ahead and read the book for that section. It's a very, very tiny section. Let's say like you want to rebill Maria Cruz. You just go back to the timesheet and check mark that you want to bill her again. But you would definitely want to be careful with that because you don't want to overcharge your customers either. If you already billed them one time, it's best that you send them a separate bill. And if that's the case, that you forgot to charge her for something, then yeah, just send her a separate bill. You don't have to recharge her for another one. Or you don't have to, make it, double the billing, okay? So we got to take a look at how a timesheet works. Now, what you can do too is, if you go to the file, you go to print forms, you can print out your timesheets right here. Timesheets, okay? So now it's asking you, well, which timesheet do you want to print out? So in this case, we're going to locate that exact timesheet, which was for the January 2019. All right, here it is, the 7th, okay, from it doesn't matter. I don't think that's relative as well, right? As long as you have the first date. So notice this, Mike Mazowski submitted his timesheet in, and we can select it, and we can either preview it, print it, whatever you feel like it. So if I go click preview, this is Mike's timesheet. So once again, if your employee wants to do this and print out their timesheet so they can send it into their HR, this is also an available option that they can do. So if they've already done their timesheet and they want you to verify it, right? But then again, the HR has access to this. So this timesheet could be either something that the employee wants to hold for themselves as a record. Okay, here you go. They can print out the timesheets and be able to do this. Okay. So, so that's how you view the timesheets. Okay, hold on. Excuse me for 1 second. When you have your employees doing their own timesheets, keeping some kind of record of their timesheets, you can have them print it out and send it to HR whenever they'd like. But again, if the HR has access to that particular section, right, that they can see the enter time, they can pull up the information if you link them all under one network. Meaning, if it's one company file, then you can hold all the records in one company file. So therefore, it's not really necessary for you to have to print out and send this to your HR. So this could be something that you could, for your employees, they can check their work. They could be like, well, did I remember to fill in this timesheet, right? Or they can even print out a blank one and fill in the timesheets themselves, right? If they can print out a blank one, they could just enter in, well, I did 10 hours here, 5 hours there, 6 hours there, right? You can do that as well, because you can select a random date, or if you want to, right? If I go, click on an empty date, you can print out an empty timesheet and they can fill it out themselves. Okay, so that's what's cool about this little feature here, is that it's a great way to keep track of, whether it's your employees, but you're not limited to just only your employees, right? If you keep reading, you can keep track of the owner's time if you'd like to, right? So here you go. We could keep track of owner's time or even partner's time, okay? So especially when you guys, as the company, decides to throw like a specific event, right? And you want to measure how much time are you actually investing into planning this event. So of course, any project, so if you're doing a renovation project, how long is it going to take? What have you done, from start to finish? You can keep track of that time as well, okay? Or if you'd like, for a either owner or partner, you can keep track of how much labor you've done, or if you do a particular part in the company, you can measure that as well. But obviously, you're not going to get paid for that if you're an owner or a partner, okay? Because obviously, you own the company, so therefore you don't get paid on a payroll system. You actually can take money anytime that you like. Now, of course, in order to keep track of that, right, you can also bill your customers as well for the owner's time or the partner's time if you feel that it's necessary to do. So for this example here in the book, well, first we have to actually enter in the owner. So let's do that first. So an owner, okay, you're going to have to think about this carefully, right? An owner does not exist as a vendor, as a customer, and of course they do not work for the company. So where would they fall under? They would fall under the list called other names, okay? So once again, if you go to list on your menu bar, you're going to go ahead and click on, let me see. You're going to go ahead and click on other, hold on, I'm on the wrong one, list. Okay, you're going to go ahead and click on other names list, okay? And so what this section here is, as you can see, it's blank. It's where you can collect all the information, whether it's the business owner or whether they're a partner, right? You can have more than one partner, right? If you've seen a company that can have 3 or more partners, right? The other 3 are silent partners. Well, you have one general partner, one that's running the show. The other 3 partners act as an investor. You can do that. And you can make a list of all of their information here. So, most cases for those who are not familiar of who they're working for, you should definitely know who your boss is, especially the one that's going to be signing your paycheck. Okay, so once again, if you need to contact your boss, this is also a good place to set the profile for that. Okay, so once again, same similarities, right? You just go down to the bottom and you're going to go ahead and click new, or you can right click on that window and click new. So of course, if you need to find your boss at any reason, you just look up their information here. So again, this is same thing as we've mentioned before. Okay, so here the name of this boss is Vern Black. Okay, company, obviously he works for Academy Photography, so obviously you don't need to put the company again unless you need to clarify that you're working for Academy Photography. Okay, Mr. Okay, so Mr. Okay, his name is Vern. Okay, last name is Black. Okay, so once again, if you fill this information and you don't fill this part in, it will automatically fill it in for you, right? Usually for names, it's always last name first, comma, first name. So once again, whatever you want to display on the list is where you enter in here. But if you can skip that part and leave it blank, and it will automatically fill it in as you fill in what the name is, okay? So again, it says contact. Okay, so contact is him. So what's his phone number? Let's see, what is his phone number?
I don't see it anywhere.
So he doesn't have a phone number. That's okay. And I don't believe he fill out his address information either. So there it is. You can add an address if you'd like. Again, especially you should definitely know how to contact your boss. Okay. I'm going to leave the rest blank because I don't think it's in the book either on his address or his phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK.
On the address, it says 123 Main Street, Pleasanton, California.
Okay, so he used the company's address.
Yes.
Okay, so 123 Main Street, Pleasanton, comma, California, 94. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so again, you can edit the information at any given time. I'm going to click OK. There it is on my others list. He's an owner, so obviously he doesn't belong into a vendor, customer, or employee. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that. Now, what you can do too is, once again, Mr. Vern, right? Maybe he wants to know how much time he invested into the company, even though he doesn't earn anything. He can at least keep track of how much time he's investing. So once I click on Vern Black, because he's listed under others list, notice this, he doesn't get a payroll item. He doesn't belong on that list. Okay, he belongs under others, which is again either an owner or a partner. So therefore, he doesn't get a payroll item. He only gets what customer he created the job for, what was the service item, and what notes he can add for it and the class. Okay. So in this case, all right, let's take a look at the book because this one is actually a little more clearer than the previous one that we did. But here it says here that we're going to do time. Okay, so first we're going to start with on, let's see, on Monday he did admin. Okay. Okay, so let's take a look at the book right here. We need to look at the time sheet. So here you can see very, 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 very tiny that the first section is admin. Now he's the owner, so he should be doing admin for usual, right? Usually that's what a owner does. So the very first thing, he didn't work for anybody, but the note here that you could place is that this was admin. Okay, so he did some admin work. Okay, and of course, class, right, doesn't belong to San Jose or Walnut Creek. In this case, it's overhead because it's for both companies or none of the companies, right? So this is what the book says. On Monday, okay, on Monday he worked 3 hours. On Tuesday he worked 2 hours. Oh wait, I forgot to change the date. Can you see what the date is for Mr. Vern?
January 7th to January 13th.
Okay, so the same time. Okay, so the same time. Okay, I think it's because I have stuff here already. There you go. So let's go ahead and go back to January. Oh, okay, went too far. There we go, January 7th. So, okay. Okay, so again, we have to redo this again. So the first note we have here is admin. Okay, and again, class is overhead. Okay, Monday he did 3 hours. Tuesday he did 2 hours. Wednesday he did 8 hours. Okay, Thursday he did 9 hours. And then Friday he's done 12 hours. Okay, and then the next item that he did was he did a job for Miss Maria Cruz. Okay, you get that notification that it's being billed. Of course, he's the owner. He can't bill himself, right? So make sure you check mark off that. And then the next item is going to be that he did a job for Maria Cruz. Maria Cruz branch opening. And what he did was he did a retouching service. Okay. And again, the note here is retouching. And I believe this is Walnut Creek. And let's see what days they did this. Monday, he did 5 hours for Maria. Okay. Tuesday, he did 6 hours for Maria. Okay. And then he did, that's it, 5 hours on Monday, 6 hours on Tuesday. And yes, we want to make sure we're going to bill Maria Cruz for that. Okay. And then, of course, that's it for Mr. Vern. So once again, Vern is the owner. He has no time limit when he comes in and works for the company. He can come in and as he please, and he can leave whenever he'd like. He's the owner of the company, which, you should definitely have your owner come in every once in a while, especially if he's trying to run the business. So definitely admin is very common when you see the owner, okay? And you can see here that he's really working hard for the company. Okay. Now, of course, you can't earn money from this, but he can say that because he did do retouching services for Miss Maria Cruz, therefore that validates that he should be, the money that he gets from the company, he can take it out because he's validated with a reason because he did actually work for the company. Or in this sense, he did actually contribute to the company. So I go ahead and click Save and Close. And once again, if I've already done that, I can move up to creating the invoice. Okay. And once I do that, then I can also type in Miss Maria Cruz. Once again, branch opening. I get that billable window once again. I click time. So I have two items here, right? I have the 5 hours on Monday and the 6 hours on Tuesday. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. Once again, now it says here that you, as the owner, were responsible for doing the retouching, services. So therefore, you're billing this customer for this particular service. Okay, and I go ahead and say Walnut Creek, and thank you for your business. Okay, and once again, it's up to you on when the date is going to happen. Again, it's relative, right? This can be changed. Obviously, you would usually bill or invoice your customers once the service has been completed. And once everything looks good, I can go ahead and save and close. So once again, the next section here we talked about, right? If you can keep track of your time for your owner, you can very well do the same thing for a partner, right? Except you just change the name, or you add them in and make sure that they are a partner, right? And you're able to do the same thing there. All right, any questions in regards to that? Okay. Yeah, any questions in regards to keeping track of time, whether it's a employee, whether it's a partner, owner, etc., etc. You can pass the bill along if you want to bill your customers based on whoever did the time for the service versus billing them for just the service itself. So again, this is a link if you've been asked to do a job versus had someone randomly do the job. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's billing and time. So again, time reports, pretty straightforward. So once again, most cases, this is definitely an HR position, right? To keep track of the time that people invested. So once again, you can go ahead and click jobs, times, and mileage, and you can run a report based on whatever question that you're trying to answer. So in this case, you could do job reports, estimates. Okay, you could do time by job, time by name, time by date. If you do time by name, obviously, it's going to be taking a look at who is your employees or who worked. So in this case, if I go ahead and click this, I see that the owner has invested some time. He invested 11 hours and 34 hours here. Okay, and then we have Mike Mazowski adding 2, 15, and 18. Like, he's done a lot of stuff. And these times are based on the job. Okay, so again, let's take a look at the list of reports. I'm not going to go through all of them because, like I've mentioned before, it is going to be only pertinent to you on your position. So if you'd like to see the timesheets, mileage, of course, if you reimburse for mileage, obviously, then you can see how much mileage a person has used. If you have a cap on mileage, then you can see which ones are, going over, etc., etc. So again, time reports are only important to you if you want to know a particular question that you have on the company, and it depends on your position. Okay. All right, so that should conclude chapter 9 for you, and then last but not least, we have to go over the review questions. So any questions for chapter 9? Nope. Okay, let's go over the review questions. Okay, so question number 1. All right, says in QuickBooks, you are allowed to pass through billable expenses to customers.
I think it's D.
You say D. Okay, anybody else want to guess?
I say D.
Okay, D. All right, that's wrong. Okay, it is C. Yes. So if you guys remember, right, when you write a check, you have that option to assign it to a specific person. And if you assign it to that person, you have the option to bill them. So if you remember, the very first exercise I did was I wrote a check. Okay. So I wrote a check, right? And the very first thing that you have is you can assign the customer and you can choose to bill them or not. Okay? That applies here. That applies on the purchase orders. That applies on the bills. It's everywhere except for the invoice itself. On the invoice, it just is an option that you can select to enter in that option. So if you are trying to link a bill to our particular customer, right? If you click on the invoices, right, in order for you to add that particular thing, you are going to have to click up here and you're going to have to add that time. Okay? But of course, you need to create the expense before you can select the option to either add a time or bill. Okay? Because this idea is that you need to create the expense first before you can pass along the bill. Okay, so once again, if you don't know where that is, it's on the invoice and it says add time or cost. Okay, and this is where the billable window comes up that allows you to select between the 4 items. But you need to create one of those 4 items before you can actually pass the bill along to your customer. Okay, and like I said, you can find it on your bills, right? You can find it on your write a checks window, okay? And you can find that on your enter time window, okay? So the answer is C, all right? Question number 2 says, okay, which account types can be used in the expense tab, okay, of a purchase transaction to make the expense billable? So remember when I was talking about this, the very thing on the first page, what items or what accounts can be considered billable? D. Okay. Yes, all the above, right? If you go onto the very first page of chapter 9, it tells you what items or what account types can be used as billable. And of course, the word expense already pretty much gives majority of them, right? Cost of goods sold, when we learn in accounting, is considered an expense, right? It's to get rid of the items and it's directly correlated to your inventory. Of course, any expense item and other expenses. So D, all the above, is going to be true. Now, don't forget, other assets can be considered one of those expense or billable expenses. Okay. Number 3, okay? If you want to assign an expense to a customer / job, okay, but do not want to pass through the bill, okay, for the reimbursement, okay, do the following in the purchase transaction. So the question here is saying you want to link, or let's say you purchase something for a customer, but you don't want to pass the bill along to them. What do you have to do? B. Assign the customer and then click on the checkbox in the billable column. That's correct. All right. If you don't want to assign, or if you don't want to bill or pass through them, you just uncheck that billable, right? It asks you, did you want to bill them? Question mark. And then you select yes or no. Okay. Number 4, okay. Which of the following tabs appear in the choose billable time and cost window? All of the above. You have items, which we just took a look at. We have expenses, which we took a look at. And we definitely have time. Okay, so all of these 3 here are going to be available options. Okay. Last but not least, question number 5 asks, okay, in an invoice, okay, you can automatically mark up the pass-through expense using the markup account option, okay? And this option is only available in which choose the billable time and cost tab. What was that?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Okay. What did you say, Sandra? B. Okay. So let's go ahead and explore that since we have a few people that we haven't billed yet. So let's go ahead and type in Anderson Wedding. Okay. All right. We're going to click that. So out of these options, this is the question that's asking. Out of these options, which one allows you to automatically mark up the price? In this case, does my time window have a markup section? No. What about my expenses tab? Yes, it asks you to mark it up. All right, let's go ahead and explore the other 2. Mileage, obviously you can't mark up your mileage. And items, you have to mark it up on the sales form. So in this case, the only option is B, expenses tab. So good job. Okay. All right, any questions in regards to chapter 9? Okay. All right. Okay.